Hey, it's Mike Castle of Archive Stereo, and so I know it's been a long time since I've done a video, and I still am. I mean, maybe I'll really get motivated this weekend because I still need to do the review, which will now be an extensive review of the WIM Ultra, and also I have the opportunity to audition. May keep, may not. I'm not 100% sure, but a Rogue Audio RP1 preamplifier. So that's kind of cool as well. But today I just wanted to. I had something that I knew I could do really quickly and just kind of this little minimal thing here, and so I thought I would go with it. And basically, the concept that I once, when I first read it, was I think referred to as LFAR. And I think it was like a back page editorial in Stereophile at one time when I'd seen this, but basically standing for listening from another room. And the idea, and again, I wish I could find this. I looked a little bit on Chat GPT, and there is some. It was familiar with it and had some thoughts on it, which I can share with you. But I think that, the advantage was if you really want to. I don't know if it was John Atkinson or I don't know. He's into measurements, so I don't know if it would be that. But it was many years ago. I mean, it was back in the 30-year period before when I was still active in purchasing audio equipment, and take a look at the video on how things have changed over 30 years and how I got into it. Maybe just to refamiliarize yourself, I've got to start doing more content, or you guys are gonna leave, and I don't want that. I want you to listen. But anyway, listening from another room, wherever it came from, I just don't want you to think that it's mine. Not because I wouldn't be proud for it to be mine, because I actually commend it and recommend it. But I didn't come up with it. Someone smarter than me came up with it, and I'm just repeating it. But the basic concept is that if you've really got a good stereo system, when you are listening from another room, and technically it should kind of be a close room where you can hear stuff from. Like the hallway. In my case, my main system is in my bedroom, so my other room would either be the bathroom that's connected to it, with door closed or open, or the living room. And I got a pretty small house, so I could even be in the kitchen. It's an open floor plan, so I could do that. I can hear it from the basement, but that is not the optimal way. It's. But so, what is this concept, and why would it be important? Well, one of the things is that it starts to get out of the way a lot of the somewhat. Because right now I'm evaluating the Rogue RP1 to decide whether I want to keep it or not. And you know how fussy I am from other videos when I looked at the Shit Saga 2, and I liked it, but it didn't blow me away. I will say briefly, the RP1, I like it a lot. It isn't blowing me away in the way that all of the reviews of it led me to believe it would. And that might just be, we'll talk about that in the actual review, but that might just be, it couldn't maybe have measured up to what I was expecting from it. Maybe it's that. But anyway, the concept is you get away. When I'm listening to these things and evaluate them, I'm like, okay, I know I should hear Stan Getz's breath sound in crystal silence in this extra thing that's on the streaming version of it, and I'm listening for it. And I really like it when I don't have to strain to hear it. Then I know I got something that's really good. Or let's see, the guitar should be over here, or that should be over there. All of these things that I've talked about in looking at Soundstage. When I did that, you get not 100% as the AI thing had told me, but and as I kind of assumed, but you basically do get out of Soundstage placement subtle detail. When you're listening from another room, you can just hear the music. And this goes back to that concept where I've talked about when we were younger, like in my case, when I was 6 or 7, listening to the cheap radio on the chair between mine and my brother's bed in our little cramped room. It was the music. It was the music that mattered. When we listened to look at the video on the old Victrola, no, the old portable record player from the 70s. When it was on that, and I was listening to Steppenwolf, self-titled album, it was the music. It didn't matter. I wasn't listening for soundstage. There was no soundstage in any of that. The stuff was too cheap. In the case of the AM radio, it was an AM radio with a single speaker. That went, staticky in thunderstorms. I really should edit that sound I made out because it's so disturbing that I guess I'll leave it in because it might be funny. Have you seen Castle's video? Yeah, he makes weird sounds. Okay. So anyway, you're out of that and you're just appreciating the music. But at the same time, as the chat, I think I was using Gemini, had said, you do get a sense of a soundstage, whether it's a big sound or not. And this took me back to when I first started thinking of this again after coming back to audio. When I started thinking about it, I was upstairs and the door to my room was open and it was playing, I think it was playing Sweeney Todd. It might have been playing something else, something good. And I had come out of the bathroom from upstairs and I hear it and I'm walking down the steps and I'm realizing, I always think about room filling sound, or I hear this concept. This thing is filling my house with beautiful sound. And that's, again, when I started thinking, hey, I remember that listening from another room. So and I wish I could remember what system I was evaluating and using at that time when I experienced that, because it was great. But I have a feeling that no matter what system I'm using, as long as it's halfway decent, I can repeat that tonight, tomorrow, next month, with pretty much any system, and I'm going to still have that experience. And that's the power of listening from another room. When you are impressed, and you don't have sound stage, except that you have big swelling sound, but other than that, you don't have instrument placement, you don't have breathy details, you don't have any of those things to go. You just have the sound of the music and how it is filling, in my case, this 2-story hall. That makes my house sound much grander than it is. It's not. There's a very small part that has a 2-story thing. It's like, hey, let's build a much bigger house, but we can't. So, let's put this cool feature in a house that there's no appreciation for it, except in this case. So that's the one instance of listening from another room that is better than anything else, because I'm saying, okay, this can fill that room. Now, other things that one can look at listening from another room is you can tell how clear is the bass. When you're from another room, it's gonna the bass, especially the lowest bass, is gonna come through, and it will be heard. But also, you might be able to tell, are there any rattles or things that you're not hearing, or any problems with that bass that you're not hearing? Or does it sound overall really good? Is the sound balanced? That's another thing that you can do in listening from another room. Bass response, but overall balance. Is it a balanced sound? If it's not going to be impressive. If it's too bassy and there's no detail whatsoever, even though we can't hear the subtle details, yeah. If it's too shrill and bass is just like a blanket covering everything, then that's no good either. But when it's balanced, like it has been in almost every situation, When I've been looking, listening from another room, there is that. Like I said, in soundstage, not so much, except as I said in the first point, that you can tell whether it's big and room filling or not, but you definitely can't tell placement. Now, this is one of those things that is not a primary way to evaluate a stereo system. It's not even a secondary way. No, it is a secondary way of doing the evaluation. The tertiary way, right? The third way. But I do think that it does have its place. I do think that it makes a lot of sense. And to be able to just get away from that strain to hear, what it does, it takes you out of audiophile mode, even though it is another mode of audiophile exploration. But it takes you out of the very obvious audio mode. Because I think when you're in the other room, whether it's the living room, the bathroom, the hallway, the stairway, you're just hearing that music. And it's later in the day, obviously. And one thing I thought of that I didn't even think of in the beginning of this, one of the main reasons, and one of the reasons that I have used it before, the listening from another room, is for vocals. And I really, all of that mid-range stuff, if you really think about it, the mid-range is kind of where all of the life of music exists, and especially in vocals. So if those vocals sound great from another room, or if that mid-range stuff sounds great from another room, then that's an important part as well. So a thing to add is listening for that mid-range. And when you are listening from another room, of course, if you get that same sort of excitement or whatever, and also if you can tell, like when you're listening in person, the female vocal or male vocal, is pinpoint, is coming from one place. If you get that same sort of vibe, even when you're not within the sweet spot of the listening, then that's really something as well. So I think that not only is this something I wanted to add, but I think it's very important to add. Another thing that you can think of is, like, if I was at a concert right now and I heard this orchestra playing, or I heard this band playing from where I'm at now, would I think that I'm getting the live feed? It's probably not going to be that clear. It's probably not going to be that good. But how close in an approximation? I'm sorry for what the lighting is doing here, and messing with the screen here. But seriously, what would that do? Something to approximate that, because that's kind of what you're looking for too. So you can get a quality assessment, even though it's not the subtle details. Now, from another room, do you hear some of those subtle details? Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know if I've experienced that. I haven't been listening for it from another room, but that may really be, that would be amazing if you can hear some of those details. I imagine key clicks on saxophone and things like that are probably somewhat available. A lot of percussive stuff that really cuts through might be as well. But the whole thing is just really basically saying to think about the idea of stepping away, getting out somewhat out of that audiophile mode, just having your system on, but go listen to it from another room. Leave the door open, listen to it with the door closed. Listen to it from one room on one side of it, listen to the other room on the other side of it. I don't think you're going to get much. Well, it depends on how loud you play. I saw something the other day where someone was talking about 95 dB peaks. Now, when I listen to music, the peak is like about 72 or 74 dB, and if you think that's too low, that's okay. I'm old, so that's what I'm doing. But I think one of the reasons why my ears are working well, that I can still appreciate this stuff, is because I never listened to that. I hardly ever went to concerts, and when I did, they were jazz. So you don't really, actually Return to Forever. You can get some loud stuff, but I just didn't subject my ears to that. didn't work around woodworking tools. I mean, I just didn't didn't harm my ears. But even that, going outside, you're not going to really get anything unless you're one of those people listening to it at 95 dB. And if you are, you should be outside if you're listening to it at 95 dB, because I don't even know how anyone is standing that. That's back to I didn't go away to college, so stereo wars. If I couldn't really do a stereo war unless I was doing it with my mom and dad on the other side of the house. So and actually, kind of any time I played the stereo, it was kind of like a stereo war, but they would always win. So anyway, listening from another room, it is something that you might want to consider, something that you might want to think about. I think it has a very practical side because it does get you out of that audiophile mode. It lets you listen for the overall bigness, lets you listen for the overall balance. Does it approximate if I was in the hallway at a venue? And do I hear detail? Okay? And if you hear detail, that's just the icing on the cake, as they say. Okay, Mike Castle. This is a short one, isn't it? Probably longer than it needed to be, but in my terms, kind of a short one. Good to be back. Good to be doing this. And, well, we'll see if I can, but I'm going to try to do more. I really want to keep this channel going. All right, thanks a lot. And please like this video. Please post your comments. If you think this is, someone told me where I posted it on an interest group, they said this sounds silly. And maybe it does sound silly. And if you think it sounds silly, if you think it's stupid, if you think it's ridiculous, tell me. If there are other things, are there other things that you can think about that are an advantage of listening from another room that I haven't thought about? All of these sorts of things, just let me know. And so like, comment, and please subscribe. And by the way, there's not as many people on the channel right now as I am hoping for the future there will be, but hopefully I can keep this up. But I try to comment back on, reply back on every comment that someone has, and I never get confrontational with people. You can talk to me and stuff like that, and I keep it pretty civil all the time. So anyway, good talking to you again, and listening from another room. LFAR. Try it.